Good morning everyone. Welcome to Tathastu ICS. I hope you all are doing fine. Today I'm going to take your DNA session. My name is Pooja Sharma and I'm your current affairs faculty. So this is the QR code for your Telegram group from where you can access the PDF files of these DNA analysis, which all the analysis taken by all the faculties at this platform, right? So let's start today's discussion. These are the new courses which are starting at Tathastu ICS. If any one of you who are interested, please go through the details. These are the news which we are going to cover today. Let's go through these news in brief at first. So the first is related to your data protection rules. We all know that the draft data protection rules, right now it's just draft. Data Protection Act is already there. So Act is already there. Now we have the draft rules of data protection. So these rules are actually based on the Data Protection Act only. So they are not much different, but they are the elaborative version of the Act as well. So whatever Act is actually going to tell us, the rules are there to facilitate the execution of the provisions which are there in the Act. Now we have an article in today's The Hindu newspaper which is actually telling us about that India's data protection rules need some fine tuning. It means our rules are totally fine, but there are few things which we need to change, only few things. So we are going to discuss what all these things are, right? So we are going to understand this article in detail. The next article is on your text and context page, very important for your prelims point of view as well. Should voter IDs be linked with Aadhaar? So this is a question. So again, right now obviously by the question only you can understand it is not mandatory in India that we need to link our voter IDs with Aadhaar right now. Okay, because there were so many provisions, there were so many happenings which happened. On the basis of that, Supreme Court of India also gave its direction. So based on that, our voter IDs are not linked with Aadhaar, but the recent controversy which is there because of the Aam Aadmi Party and the Bharatiya Janata Party. So this particular issue is again in the news. So we are going to understand what actually is the provision right now, what is the form 6, what is the form 6P. So we are going to understand all these details. Okay, then we are going to know about another improvement in our ISRO's Space DX project. We all know that we have this Space DEX project which is there in the space. So ISRO, the major purpose of this particular mission is to demonstrate this technology of docking and undocking. Obviously till now we haven't achieved that kind of the necessary or the required demonstration yet, but right now we have actually reached somewhat closer to the completion of our demonstration. So it is also a big step. So we are going to know about that as well. Then we are going to know about the Mahakumbh, which is starting in the Prayagraj after the 12 years. Okay, after 12 years in Prayagraj, but every 4 years it happens in the 4 major cities in our country. So we are going to know about. So today is the day from this Mahakumbh is starting. It is going to be there for 45 days, right? Then we are going to know about one important study which was there in Kerala, which is saying us that in Kerala the fertility level is declining. Okay, and because of the decline in the fertility level means TFR, total fertility rate. Okay, it means the women who are giving birth, the number of those women, or you can say that the number of children which are being born in Kerala are declined, and because of that the maternal mortality ratio is actually going up in Kerala. Kerala is one of the state which has one of the least maternal mortality rate in our country. Almost we have 97 to 100 per lakh mortality rate, MMR, in our country. if we take the average, but in Kerala there was only 19 death per 1 lakh. Okay, so MMR was that low, but right now it is increasing, so it is reaching towards 29 death per lakh. So MMR of Kerala is increasing, but again the reason is not that the Kerala is not taking the necessary precautions or the hospitals are not that good anymore. It is because of the declining fertility level. So if fertility level is less, the number of women who are giving birth are less, so the mortality rate is getting high because of this data. This is the mismatch of this data. Then we are going to know about another joint production between India and USA. It is actually sonobuoy. Sonobuoy is a detection device which is there to detect the submarine. Okay, if there is a warfare, naval warfare is going on and we lose our submarine somewhere, then we can actually detect our submarine based on this particular device. So we are actually collaborating with the USA. We all know that with USA we have a strong defense ties. So when it comes to the defense technology, USA is one of our major partner in the same series only. Now USA is helping us out to develop this particular technology, that is a sonobuoy technology. Okay, so now let's start with our discussion. Good morning everyone who are online, Hussain, Mamta and Shubham. So yes, it is the biggest Kumbh Mela, one of the biggest, we can say that. This time the Kumbh Mela is there in Prayagraj after 12 years. So let's see what is going to happen. It is a kind of a Mela only, it's a fair. Okay, so again it is very important for our rich culture of our country. Let's come to our first article. First article is related to our data protection rules. So right now we have these draft. I hope you know the meaning of draft. It means they are not finalized yet, they are just the draft one and they are in the public domain. Even you can give your suggestions. Okay, you go to the MITI's website, you can go to their there is the first link which you will say, you click on that link, then there will be a notification they are going to tell. So there are two links. In one link they are going to actually, there is a detail of this draft rule, and after the second link, from that second link you can give your own suggestion if you want some kind of change in this particular draft bill. That's why the newspapers are right now these days filled with the suggestion when it comes to data protection rules, because they are not yet finalized. They are right now in the processing stage only, but we are going to need to understand that what these draft rules are and what changes the scholars are actually suggesting to the government, right? Okay, now again, this is not bill, it is just rules based on the act, right? So now this is how this rule look like. So at the first it is the matter is in Hindi, and after that the matter is in English. If you want to go through the rules, again it's a very lengthy one, so it is very time consuming. Better you go to some kind of summary. You can go to the summary of any bill or rules at PRS. Okay, very good website. If you want to have a clear-cut summary of any bill or act which is there in our country, then you can go to the website of PRS and there you can easily get that summary, very authentic summary. Okay, so now what is the news here? So the news is on January 3rd, 2025, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, which is MITI, released the draft, again draft digital personal data protection rules, advancing India's effort to regulate digital personal data. So basically these rules are about the personal data, how we are going to manage the personal data. What is the meaning of personal data? For example, you have so many apps in your mobile phone. So in those apps, the moment you are going to download an application, they are going to ask for your phone number. They are not going to let you use the application without taking your phone number. Sometimes they seek your email ID as well, and sometimes they seek your name, your age, and they can ask for you from your for your nationality as well. So these data are kind of a personal data of a person in general. So now there should be rules and regulation that obviously if you are going to put your personal data in an application, that application can be from any nation. Okay, it doesn't mean that that application is an Indian application. For example, there is an American application. For example, Instagram is an USA application. So if you are feeding your personal information in while downloading the Instagram, so that information is going to go to the USC company, right? So now that is a personal data which is there with some other country. Now your personal data is very important. Look, data in general is very important for two reasons. First, they say that there are things that which makes the data very important. Some people say that data are the new oil, is the oil for the future. Like the oil is very important right now in the next few decades, because the digital technology, digital world is going to have that kind of reach, that data is going to be very important, and the data which is being collected by these companies, they can actually utilize that data up to any extent. Now the first, the data in general is very important. The second is about your protection of your data. What if a company can misuse your personal data for some other gain? Okay, so that is also important. Not only important for you, the important for the country as well. Okay, so there can be issues related to cyber security, related to the personal data of the people, because personal data of each and every person in this in our country will be easily accessible to these companies, because you are filling your data. But while filling your data, they give you terms and condition. But most of the time, those terms and condition, the moment you click on the terms and condition, there is a very lengthy document, and we rarely read those documents. Okay, what they are actually asking us, they are actually taking consent for us that can we use this personal data somewhere else. We don't read it and we just click yes, because this process is very difficult. It is very hidden process, that's such a big document. For example, if that consent is there in a very short paragraph, then everyone is going to read that and they will be aware about what kind of consent a company is taking from it. But right now such things are not happening, so these things needed to regulate. So to regulate such kind of thing, this is one of the thing. It is not only about your data, it is about the businesses also, the other companies also, data fiduciaries also. So there are the what are the rights and what are the limitations of the data fiduciary, the social media sites. So everything is going to be explained in detail in this rule, again based on the Data Protection Act only. Okay, so this personal data. Okay, so we are going to advance our effort to protect the personal data of our people. Now, someone is asking, ma'am, I am in class 10th, can I be IAS? Yes, in future you can definitely be IAS, but for that you have to be graduate. At least first you complete your graduation, and right now you are in 10th class. From your graduation first year you can actually start preparing for this examination. But because you are in 10th class, your boards are very important. For 2 years you focus more on your school curriculum, right? And read those subjects very carefully, because those NCERTs are only going to help you out in the next phase of your preparation. Okay, so obviously you can become an IAS officer, there is no doubt in that. Now let's talk about our article. Now article is saying that first the article is actually going to praise the rules, then the article is going to suggest some correction, and then the article is going to tell us a brief way forward as well. Now a pragmatic and flexible approach, it means this approach which is given in the draft rules are very pragmatic. Pragmatic means very rational, very reasonable, which is there by so much of research. Okay, so the author is saying that the rules are very pragmatic and they have a flexible approach. It means it is better than the rules and regulations, similar rules and regulation in other country. Again, they are actually going to cite the GDPR also, General Data Protection Regulation. So these General Data Protection Regulation is of European Union. Okay, it's of European Union, and European Union was the first grouping which came up with such kind of data, and by taking inspiration from GDPR only, we have devised our Data Protection Act. But the author is saying that our data protection rules or the act is much better and flexible as compared to the GDPR. Unlike the European Union's interventionist, it means their rules are interventionist. They are intervening too much when it comes to the rules, rights and limitations of businesses. Look, obviously these rules are not going to harm the people or not going to affect the lives of people. They are going to make our lives easy only, but they can make the lives of the businesses little bit difficult. But again, it should not be too much interventionist. So the author is saying that European Union's GDPR is much interventionist, but India's rules are focused on simplicity and they are more clear as compared to GDPR. Again, he is actually supporting his statement with an example also. So he is saying that they streamline notice and consent requirement, avoiding consent fatigue. This is the consent fatigue that I just mentioned, that the consent which a company or a application take from you, that is a very large consent. The text is so large in a very difficult language, so no one, especially the people who are not aware about the English language, how they are going to read that. Okay, so they are going to click agree on everything because they put that green sign on the agree button. So whatever they want you to click, they are going to put that in the green color, which they don't want you to click, they are going to put that in your red color. So by basic common sense, we tend to click on the green one and we tend to avoid the red one. So these are actually the part of the consent fatigue only. So the author is saying that in these rules, actually they streamline the process. Okay, they streamline the process by emphasizing relevant information rather than overwhelming users with unnecessary details. Again, it is only also talking about the child data processing. They are saying the rules provide stricter protection for the children's personal data, because children's personal data is more important, because children in general are more vulnerable. For example, if there is a child, 10-year-old child, first of all, 10-year-old child should not be on social media, but there is no such restrictions. They ask you the age as well, but you can easily lie about your age while downloading a particular application. So the data of children can also reach to these company, and obviously these company can actually misuse that data also, and children are more vulnerable. So protection of children's personal data should be our highest priority, and our rules and our act is actually taking good care of that. Okay, but they also offer exemption for specific industry. That yes, we are strict about the rules when it comes to the protection of the children's data, but we give exemption to specific industry. For example, if an industry or an application is an educational application or an application based on health, then we are going to make these rules easy. So the rules are not for everyone, not the same rule for everyone. The rule are different, or rule can be bit lenient when it comes to the application such as related to health or education. Again, now he is talking about the businesses. Now businesses are empowered to determine how to provide information on data right without prescriptive mandate, ensuring operational flexibility and fostering innovation. So it is good for businesses also, because the things are not being imposed on that. They are empowered to determine how they are going to provide information on data rights. Again, they are not giving the templates to each and every company that this is how you are going to write your consent agreement. Okay, the first right now we have the lengthy one, then there should be the shorter one, but there is no any kind of strict guideline from given in these rules and act. Actually, companies or businesses can devise their own mechanism. Obviously, they need to make it simpler, but they can have their own device right now. So it is better for business also, and it is better. So basically the author is saying that our rules are better than the GDPR. Okay. Again, now the article is talking about the criticism and challenges related to that. Now the first criticism, so the draft rules are not without flaws. So what kind of flaws he is actually pointing out? That their provisions for restricting cross-border data flow introduce unnecessary complexity and ambiguity. Now, I already mentioned you earlier that your data is there with the company which is there outside our country. So your personal data is outside. Now the country wants to keep the personal data of its citizen within our country only. So there is a provision, but obviously some data can cross the border as well. So some data can go outside the country also. So there are rules and regulation based on that. Again, we need not to understand what exactly are the rules because they are a bit technical, but we need to understand that personal data, this is known as data localization. This is known as data localization. Localization means we are going to keep our data at our local level. Local means at our country level. So countries, the data of countries personal should be within the country only, but obviously data localization cannot be 100%. Some data has to go outside border because the business are going to demand for that. Now the article is saying that the provision for restricting the cross-border data, obviously we have restricted the crossing of the border by these data flows, introduce unnecessary complex and ambiguity. What kind of complexity is there? Because one complexity is related to, we have divided these fiduciaries or the companies into two parts. Some are the significant data fiduciaries, SDFs, for example, Facebook will come into significant data fiduciary. Okay, it is a big company, and there will be the smaller ones. Okay, now the smaller ones also, and we have different rules for the big ones and different rules for the smaller ones, right? So differentiating between SDF, significant, and the smaller entities where the second enjoy the relaxed rules. Okay, so smaller entity have relaxed rules when it comes to transfer of data from our country to another country, or you can say that the relaxed norms when it comes to data protection, right? So it creates a risk of regulatory ambiguity because small entities could exploit the lighter regime to gain an unfair advantage, right? Again, these inconsistency may deter investment because if a big company, a big data federation, it was going to invest in our country, but because of such a restriction, they can refrain from that kind of investment. Other than that, they can drive business out in India. The same thing, either they are going to fetch the investment or they can go outside India. They are not going to be operational in India. So the rules should not be strict. Again, there are two issues. First, why there are different rules for the big companies and the smaller companies, and the smaller companies can actually take advantage of it, and they can misutilize the personal data of our country's personal, okay, or citizens, you can say that. Now article is saying that business need to safeguard to verify whether users requesting information is authenticate or not. Authentic or not. So this is also one of the issue. Now obviously businesses, people can ask these businesses for some kind of data. Okay, so they can ask, for example, there is Interpol, and Interpol need a specific data of a particular person. Then Interpol can go to the Instagram and they can ask Instagram, please provide me information about this particular person. So this is how a particular agency is going to seek the personal data from a particular company or the business, you can say that. But there need to be some kind of safeguards when it comes to that, because now then everyone can ask. Okay, so if these business are not going to know which authority is going to ask such kind of data, so there need to be clarity on that. Then each and every person can actually seek, okay, the personal data of other people. So there need to be a safeguard. But right now in our draft rules don't address scenarios where businesses face incessant information request. It means unending information or provide scope for businesses to charge as reasonable fee for request. If there is a little bit fee when it comes to these requests, then obviously these requests are going to be less. Okay, otherwise everyone can ask any kind of information from these businesses, and it will be very difficult for these businesses or the data fiduciaries to provide this information to each and every person. So there need to be a regulation, but these rules are actually not covering it, though such scenarios, such issue is being highlighted in the act, but in the rules this on this particular issue not much attention is being paid. Again, a related ambiguity is whether the government can demand access to sensitive personal data, sensitive business data. Now, can the government access it? Now, the second issue is related to that. How we are going to ensure such information which are falling into the hands of the competitors, right? Again, there can be a data related to, you know about the trade secret. Trade secret is something, for example, there is a company has its own secret when it comes to trade secret. For example, if there is a manufacturing company, then it is very secret how they are going to create that particular product. Or there is a social media company also, the social media company, how they are going to operate, the technology behind their application, it sometimes, most of the time, it's very secret, otherwise everyone is going to use that. The technology which is used in Apple, so that is very secret technology, not everyone can use that, so that is known as trade secret, and trade secret should not go outside a particular company. Even the employees sign such kind of document that they are not going to give the secret information related to its company to the other companies, so it is prohibited. In general, it is prohibited. But what about this? What if the government, if government is going to ask the sensitive data from the businesses, then there is possibility that such data can fall into the hands of the competitors of that particular business. So who is going to regulate them? So that is also another issue. So these gaps actually highlight the need for thinking about the procedural integrity. It means the few changes which is being highlighted here should be taken care in these draft rules as well. Especially the rules, again, the draft rules are very much fine, but there are few things we need to change. Things related to the how the trade secret should not go in the hands of competitor. We need to have proper safeguard. We need to have proper safeguard for businesses, so that not everyone is going to demand for the access of information from the business, because it is going to be very difficult for them. So such kind of challenges we need to take care. Okay, again, what can be a way forward? Way forward means with data breaches costing Indian businesses. So the author is saying that in 2024, actually data breach cost Indian businesses 19.5 crore. Okay, right. Compliance with data protection law is vital for business continuity and reputation. As consultants refine the draft rule, preserving flexibility, ensuring sector-specific accommodation, and reducing ambiguity is crucial. It means ambiguities should not be there. The kind of ambiguities we just discussed, we need to have a sector-specific accommodation, like we already had when it comes to the personal data of children. When it comes to the applications or the businesses related to health or education, we can have relaxed or flexible norms as compared to the other businesses. Again, we need to ensure flexibility also. So flexibility should be there for businesses also, which we have flexibility. So we are not imposing them what kind of consent form or the consent they are going to provide. So what kind of consent they are going to take from the users. So it is kind of flexible already. Okay. So but we need to refine the rules as well. Again, India's pragmatic approach, balancing innovation and economic growth and individual rights, could set a global example for digital data governance. Again, he is actually concluding the article by saying that yes, our draft rules are really good. If we are going to take care of these minute issue, then our draft rules actually can be the guiding principle for the draft of of the data protection rules all over the world, like GDPR did in the last few years. Okay, so this was all about the article. Again, bit technical article, but you need to actually understand what these rules are and what are the issues we need to discuss, and the terms such as data localization, trade secrets. So these terms you need to know. UPSC sometimes directly asks what is the meaning of personal data, what is data fiduciary, what is data localization, what is the rule for data localization in the act or in the rule. Now, let's come to our another article, very simple and very interesting article. Should voter IDs be linked with Aadhaar or not? So, this article is actually there is a context related to the context is the Aam Aadmi Party and Bharatiya Janata Party. They were actually accusing each other for manipulating electoral roll. Okay, this is how they do that before the Delhi Assembly election. So, Assembly election is just there, okay, on the 5th. So, this has reignited the debate about linking Aadhaar with the voter IDs. Okay, so right now it is not mandatory to link Aadhaar with the voter ID. We are going to understand what actually is the present scenario. So let's understand the history of this proposal, from where this particular proposal that we need to link Aadhaar with the voter ID came. So Election Commission of India actually initiated the National Electoral Roll Purification and Authentication Program in 2015. Actually, this program NERPAP was there to weed out the duplication of the voter IDs. We knew that in the last decade there was so much duplicate voter IDs. One person had different 3 to 4 voter IDs. Not everyone, most of them. Not most of them, a few of them had these duplicate voter ID. So, Election Commission of India wanted to weed out those duplicate voter IDs. How they can weed out that? If they are going to link Aadhaar with some kind of from your voter ID, because Aadhaar is very unique. It's a unique identification number. Every person has only one Aadhaar. Okay, so the government has made sure of it. So if there is a linkage of Aadhaar with the voter ID, then such kind of duplicate voter IDs are going to weed out eventually. Okay, so that's why the Election Commission of India actually initiated this process that we can link Aadhaar with the voter ID. Now, then we voted with Aadhaar. Why Aadhaar should be linked with? Who vote? Look, no one can vote with Aadhaar even if you don't have your voter ID, right? For example, you can go to the electoral booth, you can show your Aadhaar card only just as your identity card. Okay, now you can take your driving license also, just by showing that you are the person whose name is there on the list. So the person who is sitting in the election booth, they also have your name in their electoral roll. If your name is there in electoral roll, even if you don't have your voter ID, you can give your vote. Okay, so there is no issue in that, but your name should be there in electoral roll. Okay, again you need just an identity proof. But after the Supreme Court of India halted the mandatory Aadhaar use in August 2015. Why is that? Why Supreme Court of India halted this process to not link Aadhaar with the voter ID? Because there was issue related to the right to privacy. You know, all these issues were going on right now. So Puttaswamy case was there, right to privacy was there. So not everyone was having Aadhaar card. There are so many people in our country which don't have Aadhaar. So people were fearing, if we are going to link everything with the Aadhaar, again Aadhaar is not is just a proof of residence. Aadhaar is not a proof of your citizenship. So it did not seem right to the Supreme Court of India that we need to link voter ID or electoral process with the Aadhaar, because Aadhaar in general was very controversial topic at that point of time. But later, after the Puttaswamy judgment upheld the Aadhaar Act, in Puttaswamy judgment actually court upheld the Aadhaar, that Aadhaar is totally fine, everyone should go with the Aadhaar. And the Representation of People Act 1950 and electoral rules were amended in 2051. So RP Act, because on the basis that it was necessary, so electoral rules were amended to enable voluntary Aadhaar linking for authentication. Now, right now, what is the current status? It is just the voluntary linking. If a person want to link its Aadhaar card with a voter ID, only then it will be linked. If a person doesn't want to link, that person's choice. Again, it is a choice of a person who doesn't want to even make Aadhaar card. So Aadhaar card is not a mandatory or necessary thing which you need to have in your pocket. Like voter ID. If you are a citizen of India, voter ID is the proof of your citizenship, right? Aadhaar is not a proof of your citizenship. Again, what is the now Aadhaar submission is finally voluntary, but form 6 and 6b still request Aadhaar detail. What are these form 6 and 6b? I am going to tell you in detail also what are these form. These are actually the form which a voter need to fill. If, for example, if a person just reach the age of 18, then he want a new voter ID, then he need to fill a form for that. So these forms are related to that only. If again the article is saying that if the Aadhaar linking was voluntary, it was not mandatory, why still in form 6 and 6b there is a point where they are asking for Aadhaar? Okay, the article is just pointing that out. Despite claims by Election Commission in 2023, the Aadhaar is not mandatory. The form still not have been amended. Let's look at the form also so that you can understand in a better way. So what is form 6? Form 6 का purpose क्या है? Inclusion of a name in the electoral roll, and 6b to update information of electoral roll. So you can need both of things. A person just who turned 18, he is going to need to fill form 6, or any another individual shifting from one constituency to another, right? They also need to fill the form 6. What information form 6 actually seek from you? First, they are going to ask for your basic personal detail like name, age, address. Then they are going to take your Aadhaar number. Article is saying that why Aadhaar number is there. If Aadhaar linking with the voter ID is voluntary, why it's still there? But again, recently there was another provision was added. The declaration in the case Aadhaar number is not available. If you don't have any kind of Aadhaar number, then you need to declare it. Article is saying that if the linking is mandatory, then both of these pointers should not be there. There should be this, okay, because address, residence proof should be there, your age, your name should be there. On the basis of that, you can get your voter ID. Let's look at the 6b also. What is the purpose of 6b form? To update information in the electoral roll. If you want to update any information, for example, you want to change your name, or sometimes there are mistakes in your name or date of birth also sometimes. So you need to change your change those information in your voter ID. Then also Election Commission of India is asking for the Aadhaar. If you don't have Aadhaar, they are going to need some kind of declaration that you don't have Aadhaar. Again, the article is saying that if the Aadhaar linking is not mandatory, it's just voluntary, why these both form 6 and 6b still have the points which is going to take your Aadhaar number. Again, form 6 क्या है, form 6b क्या है? The both are important from your prelims point of view. Now, what are the pros and cons? Now the article is saying that if we are going to link Aadhaar with your voter ID, if we are not going to link Aadhaar with the voter ID, so what are the outcomes for that? First, the voter ID linkage with the Aadhaar number is definitely going to help us out in weeding out the duplicate entries. Okay. So it is a good thing if we are going to link Aadhaar with the voter ID. At present, actually 650 million Aadhaar are already linked with the voter IDs. But there are some concern also. Concern like, first, there are so many errors in the Aadhaar database. It is possible because of the error in the Aadhaar database, someone cannot access its voter ID, and they are not going, and the authorities will not let him to vote. So his voting right is going to go away, right? Voting is an important right in our country. Again, Aadhaar is only a proof of residence. It is not a proof of citizenship. If a person is a citizen who doesn't have Aadhaar, so if we are going to link Aadhaar with your voter ID, then Aadhaar will also become your proof of citizenship. But we have so many people who are not citizens of India, but they have Aadhaar card with them. So how we are going to take care of that issue? again. So it may not help in removing voters who are not even citizens of the India. Right. Again, the public circulation of the linked electoral roll might pose privacy risk, because we all know that our voter IDs, the electoral roll, it is being circulated everywhere. In the even the political parties, the workers of political parties had it before the poll. They are coming to our houses and they show us, okay, that this your name is in electoral roll. So everyone have access to the electoral roll, everyone have access to it. If we are going to link it and on our voter ID we have the mention of our Aadhaar, again this is a breach of privacy as well. So how we are going to manage that? Yes, Mamta, you are right, voting is a constitutional right. Again, what can be a way forward? So the article is saying that the wide public awareness campaign to build voter confidence in the Aadhaar linking is necessary. First of all, because why there is always an issue when it comes to the Aadhaar, because people don't believe in the authenticity of Aadhaar, or people believe that some people believe that their personal data, because when we have Aadhaar card, so Aadhaar card related to our fingerprints also, okay, they take our fingerprints, they take our iris scan as well. So much important data of a person is linked with the Aadhaar. So Aadhaar number in general is very private number, so no one should have access to that. That's why people fear while linking their Aadhaar or giving their Aadhaar anywhere. So we need to build the trust in the people that it is okay if we are going to link Aadhaar with the voter ID, if we really want to execute it. Second, we need to assure voter for privacy and clarify that Aadhaar is not mandatory for inclusion, because some people even don't know. In the villages you go, if you ask someone you need to link your Aadhaar with voter ID, otherwise you won't be able to vote, they are not going to ask a second question because there is no awareness about that. So everyone should know that Aadhaar is not mandatory right now. The third, the amend the forms. So we need to amend the form 6 and 6b, because again Aadhaar, if it's not mandatory, why it is still there in these forms? Again, the address concerns about the Aadhaar's limitation and potential misuse. So we can actually address the issue when it comes to the Aadhaar, the privacy of the people's information. If we have strong mechanism that no one can breach that data, then people are going to gain confidence in Aadhaar card, and it will be very easy for the government to link Aadhaar with voter ID. Many elder citizens of our country may not have Aadhaar because, yes, omitting finger thread. Sometimes there, even the moment the person is aged, their fingerprints change. Okay, so they need to make it, they need to update their Aadhaar card again and again. It is also very difficult. Now let's come to our another news. This news is related to our space DX. So ISRO succeeded in nudging 2 satellites closer. So again the demonstration which is the desired outcome has not there yet, but the 2 satellites which were there for docking and undocking, they actually came bit close together, but right now they are separate from each other. Again, in few days or maybe in few weeks we are going to have a good news that our demonstration is totally successful in space. So trying to dock 2 satellites in space for the first time, the ISRO announced that they have brought the 3 meter. They have brought these 2. One is your chaser, okay, and another is your target. So there are 2 satellites. Space DX, this mission contains 2 satellites. The one is the chaser, another one is a target. So there will be 2 satellites. So who is going to be the chaser? This is going to be target if they are going in this direction, and this is going to be chaser. So the chaser is going to chase the target and target is going to move ahead. So while they are moving, what we are trying to do, we are trying to do the demonstration of docking. Docking means while moving, this satellite is going to get attached to this one. Okay, यहाँ पे इनका docking हो जाए, and undocking as well. The moment they are docked together, then after some time they can separate each other. Okay, they can separate each other. Okay, both the target and chaser. So this is the actual this is what we actually want to achieve, but this hasn't happened yet. But this is our this is what we want. Right now they just came bit close. Okay, they came close, but docking did not happen yet. But we are hopeful that docking is going to happen in near future. Okay. Yes, low Earth orbit satellite. They will be in low Earth orbit. Again, it is just demonstration. And why we are doing such kind of demonstration, having this technology of docking and undocking? Because we want to have our own space station. Again, we have our very futuristic Gaganyaan project also, which we are going to have in 2025. For if we really want to progress when it comes to the space, then docking and undocking is very important technology we need to have. Otherwise, if a satellite is wandering in the space, if there is no docking technology, they are not going, they cannot utilize the International Space Station or another space station, right? If they don't know how to dock to the another satellite, or they to get attached to the another satellite or any another artificial body in the space. Okay, PSLV C660 rocket actually carried them to the space. So this was all about this news. Again, the Kumbh influence. So there was this picture in your Hindu's front page only, which is showing that preparations are in full swing at the Sangam area in Prayagraj, Sangam of 3 rivers, Ganga, Yamuna, and another lowest river, that is Saraswati. So that is known as Sangam, right? So the Mela has started, the fair has started. It's a 45-day Mahakumbh, which is being held after 12 years in Prayagraj. Okay, so it is going to start today, and this fair is going to be there till 26th of February 2025. Again, let's understand what this Kumbh Mela is. Again, it is world's largest public gathering and collective act of faith. The meaning of Kumbh is, Kumbh Mela is sacred pitcher. So Kumbh is the Sanskrit name of Ghada, you know that. Ghada means pitcher. So it's there in our, so the origin is there in Hindu mythology or Hindu religion only. Again, it actually being celebrated 4 times over a period of 12 years. Okay, in 12 years, 4 times it happens in the 4 different cities in our country. The first is Haridwar on the bank of river Ganga. Second is Ujjain on bank of river Shipra. Nasik on the bank of river Godavari, and Prayagraj on bank of the confluence of the river Ganga and Yamuna. Right now there are only 2 river, Ganga and Yamuna. Earlier there were 3 river. Okay, the mythological river Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati as well. So you need to know the names of all these 4 cities basically. Now let's come to another article. Another article is actually there to give us information about the MMR and TFR in our country, particularly in Kerala. But the major aim of this article is to know what is the condition of the maternal mortality or the total fertility rate in our country. Now, Kerala's maternal mortality ratio, previously the lowest in India, is rising due to decline in childbirth. What is the difference in Kumbh and Mahakumbh? Look, this is Mahakumbh, which happened after 4 years. But there are the smaller versions of this fair as well, which are known as Kumbh on the bank of these rivers. Okay, so Mahakumbh is the one which is actually coming after 12 years. 2017 UNESCO Intangible Heritage. Yes, Mamta, you are very much right. So again, what are the reasons why Kerala's maternal mortality rate is increasing? So it is a bad thing if maternal mortality rate is increasing. So the article is saying that the reasons are, first, the main reason is low fertility rate. So fertility rate is less because there are less women who are giving birth in Kerala. Then the maternal mortality is increasing. Okay, the base is low. Again, the delayed marriages. So why there is low fertility rate? The reason for that is delayed marriages, migration of the reproductive age group abroad. We all know that the healthcare professionals from Kerala are very in high demand in Middle Eastern countries. So they migrate to Middle Eastern countries. Kerala's TFR has been below the replacement level since 1991. What is the meaning of replacement level when it comes to total fertility rate? It's 2. For example, 2 people and 2 children. So there were two people, they had two children. This is known as the replacement level. If total fertility, this is an average of the India. If we take the average of India, we can take average of a state also, average of world also. 2 means all over the world we have the replacement level of, or all over the India we have replacement level. Right now in India we have actually around 2. Our TFR is around 2, sometimes it is 1.9 also, but we can say that it is basically at a replacement level. So the population is not increasing, obviously increasing, but relatively not increasing. So whoever number are there, the number of parents are equal to the number of children right now. So it's not like that 2 parent and 4 or 5 or 8 children. So now the 2 parent and the on an average we have in our country 2 parent 2 children, that's it. 2 parent means mother and father, 1 parent, 1 set of parent and the 2 children. But the Kerala, the replacement level is not there since 1991. It means since 1991 Kerala's TFR was less than 2.0, and it is now, right now it is at 1.86. In 1990s also it was 1.81. Okay, and now it is 1.46. It means only 1.46 children per couple. Now what are the challenges if the TFR is going to reduce in general? So what are going to be such challenges? Then aging population is going to surpass the younger population in near future. So there will be more elderly, less people, and you know that the people who are going to be young, they will be there in the they are going to be in the productive age, so they are going to earn. And the elderly people, we need social security, proper social security for them. So that is another concern. Again, increasing reproductive health issues among older mothers, because the age of bearing children is increasing, then reproductive health is also going. That's why in Kerala there is a decline, there is an increase in maternal mortality, because now there are very less young mother and we have much more older mothers, and on older mothers the mortality rates will always be higher. Either the mother is very young, so there should be a certain age. Again, there can be another challenge. These trends coupled with socio-economic risk actually can pose long-term policy and welfare concern. If we need to look for that, why we are talking about total fertility rate or MMR right now, why we are worrying that TFR is getting down in our country. It is a good thing that population is in our control, it is going to be stagnant, but in the near future the young population will be yes, and the older population are going to be more. So we need more welfare measure for elderly. We need to start today, we need to start thinking today. Only after 20 or 30 years the people who are in their 30s are going to be in their 60s, right? So they are not going to earn that time, they will be in their retirement age. So the government or the people or the young population, so all the burdens of those elderly people are going to be there either on the young ones or on the government. So right now government need to take a proper welfare measures so that we can take care of this issue in the future. So that is the thing. Again, this is how it is decreasing from 2001 and 3 it was 110. Only Kerala scene. It is the scene of Kerala only, not India. So in India we have 97, around 97. Some reports say that it is 103, Lancet report, some say that it is 97. Again, you are also right, Kumar. Some reports say that it is 2.1, some say that it is 2 or 1.9, but it is around 2. And obviously the TFR of the country, the states like Bihar and UP is higher as compared to the southern state. So in South India TFR is less, and in the eastern side of our country TFR is high, bit high, not that much high, again bit high. So what is MMR in general? Maternal mortality rate. So MMR is the number of maternal death per 1 lakh live births, first of all. So 1 lakh live birth. Again, India's MMR has decreased significantly from 1990s. In 1990 it was 556 per 1 lakh birth, but now it is 97 only per 1 lakh in 2020. And the projection is that in 2050 it will be around TFR, not the MMR. The TFR, total fertility rate, will be 1.29 as per the report. Lancet is an international body. So according to this report, in 2021 India's TFR is 1.91 and it will be 1.29 in 2050, and 2100 in 2100 India's TFR only 1.04, which is very less. Okay, so replacement level is around 2 or 2.1. So we have already breached that, or we are at that only. What is TFR? Standard demographic indicator, which is used to estimate the average number of children that a woman would have over her childbearing years. Right now a woman is on an average having only 2 children. That's it. Okay. Yes, Valesh, you are very much right. But again, we need to think from the technical point of view as well. Because of these issues, the MMR is going to be high. Earlier, the issue of MMR is there because the mother were too young. But these days, the issue of MMR is there because the mother are old. Now, let's come to our next article. Next article is regarding this these instruments which are known as sonobuoys. Sonobuoys, it means sonar buoys. The meaning of sono here is sonar. Sonar is there to detect an object underwater, right? Now, India and US have announced a landmark partnership to co-produce sonobuoys devices critical for detecting submarine underwater, and it is going to be there under Make in India initiative. So the USA is going to provide us the technology and the manufacturing is being done by India only. Again, the final assembly will be there in India with collaboration with Bharat Dynamic Limited. BDL is going to do that. The project is going to align with US initiative. US and India have this initiative, Critical and Emerging Technology, ICET. So ICET, what is the meaning of ICET? That we have this partnership with USA, according to which USA is going to provide us about the critical technology and emerging technology. Critical and emerging, critical something that is necessary for us, and emerging something like artificial intelligence. So technology is related to that they are going to provide us. So this development is significant given India's growing military cooperation with US as well as Quad members. Again, everyone want to contain China in the Pacific. That's why US is also helping us out, the country, when it comes to naval security of the countries. Okay, so they want the countries like India or the countries like which are the part of ASEAN, they need to have a strong naval military. This is how these sonobuoys are going to work. So from an aeroplane, these sonar buoys are going to be there in the they are going to drop from the air to the sea. Then after reaching the sea, they are going to divide into 2 parts. The one part is going to remain above water, the little bit of it, and the second part is going to go down in the water. So this is how they are going to, and from here they are going to have these hydrophone arrays, and they are going to detect the devices. Okay, so they can actually detect any kind of device, but what our purpose here is to detect our submarines. Okay, submarines are there which are underwater, so they don't much seen above water, they actually operate underwater. So they help in the detection, classification and prosecution of adversarial ships and submarines. Okay, so they can actually detect the ship also. For example, ships like Titanic which were submerged, so we actually use some kind of these sonar buoys only to detect, to know about what actually happened there. Let's do some questions. So this is the first question. Please go through the question first. So it is about linking voter ID with Aadhaar. So the first, there are 3 lines. Again, very important question. You can actually get some version of this question in your paper. The Election Commission launched National Electoral Rolls Purification and Authentication Program in 2015 to link voter ID with Aadhaar. with purpose of removing unwanted or duplicate entries. So this is correct or not? Yes, this is correct. Second, the Supreme Court in its 2015 interim order allowed mandatory linking of Aadhaar with voter ID. ऐसा हुआ? Why everyone saying A is answer? How come A is answer? This is not correct. Supreme Court did not say it was mandatory. Supreme Court said no, it is not mandatory. Okay, so statement 2 is wrong. So 1 cannot be the answer. Third, the submission of the Aadhaar for voter registration is mandatory and failure to do so can lead to denial of inclusion in the electoral roll. Is it correct? This is obviously not correct. It means what is the current status? The current status is that the Aadhaar is not mandatory when it comes to voter ID. So this statement is wrong. The both mandatory word is used. The both statements are wrong. So which statement is correct? Only one is correct. So answer is B. So B is the answer. In 2015 Supreme Court did not say link the Aadhaar. They Supreme Court ने बोला था link नहीं करना है because the Aadhaar issue was so much controversial at that point of time. But yes, later in 2018 because the Aadhaar Act was being Supreme Court upheld the Aadhaar Act, but after that also there was voluntary linking. Mandatory linking is not there at all. Okay? Unless there is any kind of change there. Let's come to our second question. Very easy question, but UPSC asks sometimes an easy question as well. What is the primary function of sonobuoys in naval operation? So what is the answer? Detecting and tracking submarine underwater or guiding naval ship through narrow channel, monitoring weather pattern in ocean and assisting in underwater cable repair. Obviously, right now so you have just read about the sonobuoys, so you know A is the answer. But in examination you tend to forget. So please you need to know what is actually the primary function. And this is the only question you can expect from this particular news. Okay, so A is the correct answer. Okay, everyone is giving right answer only. So this was all about today's discussion. Please read newspaper also after that, right? Newspaper reading is also very, very important along with DNA sessions, because the moment you are going to read the newspaper, you will have more authentic understanding of your newspaper. Okay, so have a nice day, take care, please do study as well, and happy loading to all of you.